Hello, this is Doe Wilkerson, Old School Boxing Talk 10. This one we're going, this one here, uh, the truth. For the last couple of weeks since I seen you last, we've had some good fights. Let me see. When I last talked to you last, we were on the eve of Crawford versus Post Style, which of course Crawford won. And then we followed that up the following week with a nice triple header. Paulie Malignaggi winning. Um, Adonis Stevenson defending the light heavyweight title for the seventh time. I would like to see him step up the competition. I mean, since he's won the title, I think the best person he might have faced is Sakio Pika. No, yeah, because the kid that gave him the 14, kid who everybody was high on, that beat Chavez Jr. and dropped Stevenson, wound up getting KO'd in the first round by some unknown. So maybe that kid wasn't really, maybe his team's had a bad day. But for legitimate fighters, the best guy Stevenson's faced so far has been Sakio Pika. I've always been of the impression, and I've always said this, that I never felt that Adonis Stevenson would beat Sergey Kovalev. I don't now. I didn't then. So if I feel if they fight, Kovalev beats him. But that's something to happen down the road because Kovalev has this obstacle called Andre Ward to get past, which I don't think he will. Okay, then we move on to Carl Frampton defeating Leo Santa Cruz for the WBA featherweight title. In an exciting fight, there were some close rounds, but I felt that Frampton had edged it out 115, 113. I thought the judge had it 117, 111. I don't know what he's watching. I think what boxing needs now is really to get some of these former fighters to become judges, and I think that's the way both boxing and MMA has to go, and trying to get former fighters to now stay in the system and become judges. That way we'll have some guys that have actually competed judging these fights. So we won't have as many bad decisions. Will eliminate bad decisions altogether? No. Because wherever you have human beings and humans have their own likes and dislikes, even within rules, you're still going to have some degree of questionable scoring. But I think it'll go down less when you have former fighters doing it, because fighters know what's going on in the ring more so than most of these people sitting on the outside looking in do. That's why if you look at both even HBO and Showtime, they have more fighters doing the analyzing it, because you listen to Paulie Malignaggi, you listen to Roy Jones when he's allowed to on HBO. You listen to them, they break down a lot of things, and the subtleties that are going on in the ring, in a round. Excuse me, they help educate the viewer. And Lord knows, even the people around him, because Lord knows Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman need as much help as they can get. And that's going to lead me to Max Kellerman, which is the topic of this week's discussion. The truth. Earlier in the week, I read this article that went on, I get Bleacher Report, and it says, Max Kellerman roasts Floyd Mayweather on First Take. So I waited a while, and I finally went and I listened to what Max Kellerman said. And this is why we as boxing fans have to really, really not pay attention a lot of what the media says, but a lot of time the media says misleading words to try to get you to read it, to sensationalism. Because when I listened to what Max Kellerman actually said, he didn't roast Floyd Mayweather. What he did was, Max Kellerman told the truth. This is what Max Kellerman said. Floyd Mayweather, the reason people like Manny Pacquiao and the networks push Manny Pacquiao is because Manny Pacquiao will fight anybody, anytime, whoever they say, tell Bob Arum they want him to fight, and when and wherever, when, where, whatever. And he won't question. He'll do whatever they say. Max Kellerman went on to say in his issue on his First Take, For the longest time, the networks and fans exploited fighters. And they like it that way, that they can tell the fighters who they want to fight. And these guys go in and do what the hell they tell them to do. Floyd Mayweather changed the game by minimizing risk, maximizing the reward. And that is what changed Floyd Mayweather. That is why Floyd Mayweather is so hated and it's been pushed by HBO. Let's go back a bit. The hatred toward HBO and Floyd Mayweather started when HBO offered Floyd Mayweather a 5-fight, $12 million contract. Floyd Mayweather turned it down, and he called it slave wages. Floyd Mayweather bet on Floyd Mayweather. Now, HBO wasn't happy. From that moment on, HBO decided, we're going to teach this guy a lesson. We're HBO. Nobody talks to us like that. HBO's mission to discredit Floyd started when he was fought Diego Corrales. Diego Corrales was on Showtime. HBO got him over there with the express purpose of destroying Floyd Mayweather. What happened? Floyd Mayweather destroyed Diego Corrales. And HBO has also gone through the business of now discrediting Floyd Mayweather and discrediting Floyd Mayweather, who he's fought, who he's beat, whatever. It's a whole smear campaign against Floyd Mayweather, and there's so many ignorant ass people out there believing this bull and believing the hype and the crap that HBO is spewing, and the boxing media, not just HBO, but the boxing media that are aligned with HBO, from the Dan Rafaels and on down, these guys that are aligned with HBO that'll go out there and their whole mission is to downgrade Floyd Mayweather. Says Floyd Mayweather pretty much told HBO kiss his ass, and proved he was right by betting on himself. Winning, he made more money in those 5 fights afterwards than he would have made in that contract with HBO. He turned around and signed this big deal with CBS and Showtime, which netted him over $100-some-odd million. Again, Floyd Mayweather is a businessman, pure and simple. He's a businessman that has boxing, has fantastic boxing ability. And he was smart enough to not allow HBO, Bob Arum, or any other promoter to use him. He always said, one of the things Floyd said is, I'm going to retire from boxing. I'm not going to have boxing retire me. And he was right. And I hope he stays undefeated and stays out of boxing because he's promoting. I hope he never comes back. I hope he handles all his money and continues to be smart with his money outside, which he must be, because how many other fighters can go to Bob Arum and give him $750,000 to buy out their contract? Floyd paid Bob Arum $750,000 to buy his contract out from Bob Arum and become a free agent. Floyd did that. And I'm sure right now Bob Arum's kicking himself in the ass because he's like, God, I took that quick money and look what I lost. Because, fighters to promoters are commodities. Bob Arum cashed in on the Floyd Mayweather commodity for $750,000. And look what he lost. Look what he lost. Same thing with Oscar. Oscar paid a little bit more to get away from Bob, but but at the thing is that now Mikey Garcia out, and Mikey Garcia's going to be a huge star. He's with I think he just fought Saturday night on Showtime. I don't know if he's officially with Heyman and Mayweather Promotions. I don't know if it's a fight by fight deal, which might be smart, but I think that's where he's going to work with those guys. Now, back to Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman pretty much told us the truth, that the promoters, the networks, and the fans exploit fighters, and they like it that way. And when a fighter like Floyd Mayweather comes along and says, no, you're not exploiting me, I'm going to give you the fight you want, but I'm going to give it to you when it's worth more. And which is smart if you think about it. Everybody said, oh, Floyd Mayweather should have fought Manny Pacquiao 5 years ago. 5 years ago, the fight should have taken place. 5 years ago. Okay. How much would they have made 5 years ago? It wouldn't have made what it made now. 5 years ago, this fight would have been a good fight. It would have went the same fucking way. It wasn't going to change. 5 years, 5 years ago wasn't going to change. Floyd was still going to outbox Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao would have still came up with it. Made shoulder. And we'd have had that 5 years ago. The fact that Floyd Mayweather went and beat a bunch of fellow Hall of Famers from Miguel Cotto on down, because Floyd Mayweather realized this: I don't want to fight these guys if I don't have to, dealing with Bob Arum. So when he fought Cotto wasn't with Arum. Cotto went back to Arum after the Mayweather fight, but Cotto wasn't with Arum, and Cotto made a crap load more money from the Mayweather fight when it happened than he would have made the first time when they were talking about what should happen here. Same thing with Manny Pacquiao, who still got screwed over in a deal. Floyd walked away from that with making over $200 million, all told and done. And Manny Pacquiao maybe got, from what reports are, Manny Pacquiao maybe got $20 million. And Bob and the IRS, both in the Philippines and the U.S., took the rest. So Manny maybe walked away with $20 million, give or take. He didn't walk away with what Floyd walked away with. Fight grows a shitload of money. The people that made money off that fight were Mayweather, Bob Arum, Mayweather Promotions, HBO, Showtime. Manny Pacquiao made $20 million. Which, I mean, to say, okay, when you think about the pie for that fight generated over $400 billion. That fight generated $400 billion. And you think about the fact that Floyd, got a lot of his money, whatever, that Manny Pacquiao probably maybe made, he walked out with $20 million. He might have made more than that with his share of the proceeds from the Philippines, for the pay-per-view, buys or whatever. Which I'm sure Michael Kuntz and Bob Arum took a big cut out of that. But the point is, Manny Pacquiao didn't make what Floyd Mayweather made. That's the truth. And all these people are hating on Floyd because Floyd is a businessman. Floyd approaches boxing like a business. You know who else approached boxing like a business? Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard approached boxing like a business. Sugar Ray Leonard did the same thing Floyd did, only Floyd did it bigger and better. Sugar Ray Leonard chose when to fight his people. He fought Tommy Hearns. Angelo Dundee said, they could have fought Tommy Hearns a couple years earlier. He said, nah, we got to let that simmer a little bit. That's got to simmer a little bit. And when it simmered enough, they made the fight. They made money. Marvin Hagler, when Marvin was at his best, they didn't want that fight. They turned around and had Marvin Hagler fight Marvin Hagler after he fought John the Beast Mugabe. And that Mugabe fight took a shitload out of Hagler. Hagler was never the same after the Mugabe fight. That Mugabe fight took a lot out of Hagler. It also took everything out of Mugabe. And after the Mugabe fight, after seeing how Marvin Hagler was physically beat down and everything else for the Mugabe fight, that's when Leonard said, now's the time to take this fight. Beaten down, deteriorated Hagler. Now I'll take that fight. Now I will take this fight because now he's been beaten down a little bit because I don't want him fresh. I want him. And then Leonard said, we want, middleweight division at that time, they wore 8 ounces. Leonard said, I want 8 ounces of gloves. I want 10 ounce gloves. I want 12 rounds out of 15. Leonard dictated all these tempo, and Hagler's fault because Hagler took another $3 million for all this. Leonard said, I'll give you an extra $3 million, but he said, well, you get this. So Marvin Hagler said, give away 3 rounds, give away my 9 minutes, put 2 ounces of gloves, go from 8 to 10 ounce gloves for $3 million. Yeah, but Hagler felt hell I could beat him. Hagler probably felt that he's not going to go the distance, so I'm not worrying about the judges. I'm going to catch him, hit him, hurt him, knock him out. So it's not, I'm not worried. So yeah, I'll take an extra $3 million for, that's your mistake. Fine. And of course, we all know what happened and went to the judges, and Leonard got the decision, which I still to this day don't think he deserved a decision over Hagler. But that's my opinion. Now, also, I'm on a lot of social media chats on Facebook, and someone put up there about the Andre Dirrell Carl Froch fight, and was Andre Dirrell robbed in the fight with Carl Froch? This is the rule about boxing. When you fight the champion, you have to beat the champion. You have to convincingly beat the champion, and especially the champion's hometown, which means anytime there's a close round, usually it goes to the champion. So if you're the challenger, if the round is tight, usually that goes to the champion. Those rounds go to the champion. If they're close rounds, the champion gets the benefit of the doubt. As a challenger, when you fight a champion, you have to definitively beat the champion. You can't have close rounds with the champion. That's the problem with Andre Dirrell, was there were too many close rounds. He didn't win enough clean cut. Now, looking from what he did from the outside looking in, if you don't take that in consideration, did Dirrell deserve to win that fight? Yeah. But when you know how boxing is, you have a boxing IQ, and you understand the rules and the way boxing is done, you understand, one, you're on the road. Two, he's the champion. When you fight the champion, you have to leave no doubt in the rounds you win. No doubt. There were a couple close rounds there that I gave to Andre Dirrell, but honestly, if I use the scoring the way, but honestly, I could see judges giving those close rounds to Froch, which is what I said to people that watched the fight with me. I said I felt Dirrell did enough to win it, but it's a close round. That may go to Froch. What happened when they got the scorecard you read at the end of the fight? It went to Froch. Was I shocked? No. Did I think, because Andre Dirrell didn't do enough to win the rounds. When he turned around, he fought Mikkel Kessler. And he was winning that fight. I mean, he totally did, till he got hit late, he got hit late. He got hit late behind the head, and, the foul occurred and they disqualified. He was off a couple years from that one. He learned his lesson, because sometimes, look, this is the thing about boxing. This thing about it, a lot of people need to realize. Being undefeated is good, but it doesn't mean greatness. Some of the greatest fighters in boxing have learned from a loss. I thought Andre Dirrell, after he lost to Carl Froch, when he came back, he was a better fighter because he learned from that mistake. Sugar Ray Leonard, when he lost to Roberto Duran, he came back, won the rematch, was a better fighter because he learned from his loss, which also helped him in his fight with Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns, after he lost, he became a better fighter. Sometimes you have to go through something, and then when you go through it, you reevaluate everything, and you come out at the other end better. Sugar Ray Robinson was undefeated, 140 fights at welterweight. Never lost one fight as a welterweight to Jake LaMotta. One fight to LaMotta. When they moved up to middleweight and they had the rematch, Leonard Robinson won the rest of them. But he learned from that fight because he learned from a loss. Back in the day, there was a time that the old timers back in the 30s and 40s used to say, if you're undefeated after 30 fights, it's because you haven't fought anybody. And that was true. Back there was a lot of times in the past that fighters' records were pushed up and padded up. This is the case that, when it comes to, like I said, this article is called The Truth. This is what I feel is going on with Triple G. And I like Triple G as a fighter. I just want to know if he's for real or if he is manufactured. And this is what I mean. Back in the day, there was a heavyweight named Jerry Cooney. And Jerry Cooney was destroying everything. He's a great white hope. Beating a bunch of old heavyweights, and he was moving up the rankings. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Jerry Cooney was going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. They were sure of it. They were building up. HBO was behind her. The machine was there. And HBO and Dennis Rapp and the people, the Cooney's people, disrespected the reigning, defending heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. Now, the thing was this. Could Jerry Cooney have been a heavyweight champion of the world? Yes. And because at that time we had two champions. We had Mike Weaver and we had Larry Holmes. Larry was recognized as a legitimate heavyweight champion because he pummeled an old Ali that came out of retirement. And beating an old sad Ali and being the only man to stop Ali, gave Larry Holmes the lineal heavyweight championship. Fine, and a lot of people also turned a lot of people against Larry Holmes because he did that to Ali. But it is what it is. Mike Weaver, who lost to Larry Holmes earlier, and Larry defended when Larry's maybe his fourth or fifth title defense. Larry knocked out Mike Weaver in the 12th round. But Weaver gave Larry all he could handle before knocking him out. Mike Weaver then got a shot at John Tate, who won the WBA title that Ali had vacated after Ali recaptured the title from Leon Spinks. John Tate won. Okay, here's the title got split this way. When Ali lost to Leon Spinks, Ali was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Now, Leon Spinks, wanting to capitalize on this, agreed to give Ali a rematch. But there was a rule in the WBC that said you can't give an immediate rematch to the former champion, which I think is stupid. Maybe they've changed it since then. That wretched WBC, who knows? But what happened is Don King, because Don King was pissed off that Ali wasn't working with him, Ali's worked with Bob Arum. And Ali did the same thing Mayweather did. Ali chose what promoter he was going to use for what particular fight. He wouldn't sign a long-term deal with any promoter. And Ali was the type of guy, he didn't really need a promoter. Ali promoted his own damn fights. But I digress. Ali chose to, use Arum at this particular moment in time in his career. Arum was promoting this. So Don King went to the WBC and cried and bitched and moaned his friendship with Jose Sulaiman. Sulaiman stripped Leon Spinks of the WBC title and awarded it. That's right, awarded it to Ken Norton, who was the #1 contender, but Ken Norton had lost 2 fights to Ali anyways. So what the was it? Anywho, Ken Norton was awarded the title. He didn't win it. He was awarded the title. Now, turn back around, and Ken Norton then loses said title to Larry Holmes, who Larry won the title. Ken was awarded it. Larry won it. John Tate, after Ali defeated Spinks, recaptured the WBA Heavyweight Championship, which was the lineal title at the time. It's the lineal title. That's the belt to beat a man, got to beat the man, blah, blah, blah. And Ali, was the man. He lost that belt. Spinks got stripped of part of it, but the WBA title was still with Spinks, which kept the lineal. Spinks was the lineal champion. Spinks then lost to Ali. Okay. Now, Leon Spinks, Ali, after beating Spinks, Ali retires. We have 2 champions. John Tate beats Jerry Coetzee in South Africa to win the WBA title. Okay. And, of course, apartheid followed shortly thereafter, so that was the last time there was going to be any title fights in South Africa for a while, because everybody boycotted South Africa because of apartheid. Which, the way America's going, they could boycott boxing in America because we're not too far behind that. So, okay, here we go. We have John Tate as a WBA champion with Larry Holmes a WBC champion. John Tate defends his title for the first time against Mike Weaver. What happens? John Tate's winning the fight. Mike Weaver catches John Tate, knocks John Tate out clean. Cold, knocks him out. John Tate, it was in Knoxville, Tennessee, they were fighting. Knocks out Tate. Mike Weaver becomes WBA heavyweight champion. Mike, made a couple defenses of the title, 2 or 3 defenses before he was stolen from him against Michael Dokes. But I digress. Let's get back to Cooney. Now, here is Dennis Rappaport, and I forgot the other guy, I forgot the guy's name. They got this Great White Hope. Now, on a business decision side, if you have Cooney, you knew what his flaws were. You knew what he could and couldn't do. Jerry Cooney, if I was managing Jerry Cooney, I fight Mike Weaver, win the WBA title, and I make more money long range staying the hell away from Larry Holmes. That's what I do. No, they decided they're going to fight Larry Holmes. And they did. And they got lost. But the buildup was so ugly. It was just like when we're going through this election with Trump. It was black versus white, good versus evil. And it's always a black man that's the evil man. I don't know why the hell. Why is a black man always the evil man? Larry Holmes is pissed off. He's being disrespected. He's a champion being disrespected. Jerry Cooney hasn't done nothing. They made a shitload of money. But what happened is this. Jerry Cooney was never the same because of the buildup, because he felt he let all these people down. They put the pressure of the white community, just like with James Jeffries when he fought Jack Johnson. The pressure of the white world is on his shoulder. You're letting out white people everywhere, depending on you to win this title. And just like Jeffries, Jerry Cooney faltered. And we knew the fight was over in the second round when Larry Holmes dropped him in the right hand. Larry Holmes took all that anger, all that frustration, all that disrespect, and for 13 rounds just took it to Cooney. Just beat the shit out of Cooney. You know, Cooney, best punch was a low blow to hit Larry. Hit Larry low. That was his best punch. But the point is, Larry Holmes totally decimated Jerry Cooney. Jerry Cooney was never the same again. Matter of fact, Jerry Cooney only fought sporadically 2, maybe 3 times after that. He fought Michael Spinks and lost. He fought George Foreman and lost. But Jerry Cooney, instead of becoming a serious champion, serious contender, he became a sporadic event. He became he became a big name guy. After the Holmes loss, that made him something, so he didn't have to fight like that. He fought when he wanted to fight, and he made money. But here's the thing about that. We didn't know how good Jerry Cooney is because he wasn't tested getting there. And when he finally was tested and he lost, he was never the same fighter. He was shell-shocked. He was never the same fighter because he wasn't tested. And of course, from a business standpoint, it was a mistake I felt that the Cooney people made because I would have fought Mike Weaver, beat Weaver, which Cooney could have beat Weaver. Won the and then fought whoever, because the WBA would have done whatever. They could have manipulated WBA to fight this guy and that guy, and they could, in the words of Richard Schaefer, if you're not with us, we'll fight around you. And that's what promoters do. They fight around. Richard Schaefer does it. Bob Arum does it. Golden Boy does it with fighters that aren't there. They fight around you. I mean, I'm waiting to see how they do Earl Spence Jr. Earl Spence Jr. is ranked in the top 5 by every governing body. Now, if Earl Spence Jr. decides, I think he's ranked number 2 by the WBO. So what if Earl Spence Jr. says, hey, I want to shot that title? What does Bob Arum say? We're going to fight around you. You're not top ranked. We're going to fight around you. Well, now that he's working with Al Heyman, maybe you got a chance, but Bob wants to keep that belt in the stable because Bob is holding that WBO belt for Terrence Crawford. That's who he wants to make his champion at welterweight. So I believe that Bob Arum's not going to risk putting Jesse Vargas in there with Earl Spence Jr. He's not going to risk Jesse Vargas losing that title to anybody outside of the top ranked stable. So, what will happen is if Terrence Crawford turns around and fights Manny Pacquiao next, which is being guessed upon, if Crawford fights Pacquiao and Crawford defeats Pacquiao, which I would think he would do, then they'll slide Crawford in there to fight Jesse Vargas, and then they'll try to use Crawford to be now the name. But the thing about it, which is funny, is that now that Bob Arum and Al Heyman are working together, and Manny Pacquiao wanted he wanted this fighter, Adrian Broner for some reason priced himself out of the fight, and some other guys, but yet the welterweight champion of the world, Keith Thurman, said, I'll fight you. Keith Thurman said, hey man, you want to dance in November? I got a free dance card. Keith Thurman is pretty much Keith Thurman's like, yo, call WBA, put that boy on hold a minute. I'm going to fight Manny Pacquiao. Now, Manny Pacquiao, of course, there's people there like, we ain't fighting Keith Thurman. Come on, we ain't fighting Keith Thurman. We don't want that fight. We ain't fighting Keith Thurman. Because Bob Arum looks at it this way. If Manny Pacquiao's going to go out in a loss, he's going to go on a loss developing one of my fighters, not Al Heyman's guys. Because if Manny Pacquiao can sit in with Keith Thurman, Thurman blasts Manny Pacquiao's ass out of there. Because let me tell you something about Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao has a weakness for one particular punch only, and one particular punch, the straight right. Manny Pacquiao will get pissed at you if you miss him with a straight right hand. Keith Thurman's a damn good straight right hand. And Keith Thurman's a lot harder than Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather popped Pacquiao all night long, straight right hand. Left jab, straight right hand, occasionally a hook. But the straight right hand, you can't miss him. And the man that showed us all that was Shane Mosley. When Shane Mosley fought Manny Pacquiao, Mosley popped the shit out of Manny Pacquiao straight right hand all night long. When he decided to fight, Mosley popped straight right hand, bang, straight right hand, bang. And everybody looked at that, saw Mosley, okay, there's a blueprint right there, straight right hand. Marquez, what did he knock him out with? Right hand. Man was run into a right hand. Pacquiao jumped in it, bang, right hand, bang. Manny's sleeping. So, you're not going to fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's a damn good straight right hand. You run into Keith Thurman, he's not to call one time to be, one time, he has to be carried the fuck up out of there. So he's not going to fight Keith Thurman. So he's going to save Manny. Manny will probably fight Terrence Crawford. He will, I would guess, It's a cold, for me, it's a toss-up fight. I would think that that Crawford beats him, but I wouldn't really be that surprised if Manny won. I'm just saying, because all the planets are aligning to this being the Crawford coronation, but this could be the time that maybe, maybe young Crawford's not. I mean, is Crawford special? Yes, but he hasn't had those fights. I still think Crawford hasn't had those fights with the upper tier guys, to show me something. I mean, the toughest fight that I've seen him have so far is with Yuriorkis Gamboa. Postal wasn't that close a fight. You saw Postal, I would like to see him, I want to see what he does, because I don't think he's there yet. But like I said, he's supposed to win the Pacquiao fight, which puts all the pressure on Crawford. But would I be shocked if Manny won? No. Because for Manny, you're playing with house money. If I lose, I'm supposed to lose. If I win, hey. So that's where that's coming from. And I want to see what happens. I guess Keith Thurman now fight his mandatory, the WBA, what is it, the regular, what's this guy, the regular champion now? The WBA decided they're going to clean up all those titles and those 20 million titles, which is good. Which is another reason why I'm pissed off that they're not mandating that Gennady Golovkin fight my man Danny Jacobs. Excuse me, why is it, if you're cleaning up this and you're saying that these guys have to face each other to come up with one champion, well, why aren't you telling Gennady Golovkin to face Danny Jacobs? Or if that's the case, say no. Isn't Eubanks Jr. your interim champion? So why don't you have Eubanks Jr. fight Danny Jacobs, who's your regular champion, clear that thing up, and then the winner of that will be Golovkin's mandatory. I mean, that's a simple thing there. That's a fight that could be made. I think Eubanks Jr. takes the fight with Danny Jacobs, and I think we get a hell of a fight there. I'd like to see what happens with that. I want to also see what happens with the WBA side of this, because the WBA side of this is in the heavyweight division is interesting. And a junior middleweight, because junior middleweight, the WBA regular champion, is supposed to fight Demetrius Andre. Now, if Boo Boo beats this guy, that could lead to a good fight between Boo Boo and Laura, which would be an awesome fight. I'd like to see that. I want to see that fight. But in the heavyweight ranks, it's interesting because who has to deal with Luis? Who has to deal with Ortiz, Luis Ortiz? Who has to deal with the real King Kong? That guy, yes, he's like 40 years old, he's fucking ancient, but the son of a bitch can fight. And the thing about the heavyweight division is, who has to deal with him? Because, okay, this WBA, he's the interim champion, so he's going to want to fight. If they do it right, there's supposed to be a tournament in the WBA in the heavyweight division, whereas Klitschko Fury is part of that tournament. And Luis Ortiz is somewhere in that tournament. Freza Kendo is supposed to fight somebody for the WBA regular title. Yeah. I just want to see who's going to wind up fighting Luis Ortiz. I want to see who in the heavyweight division is going to fight this guy. Because, I'm sorry, he's old as fuck, whatever. But, I think Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight out there right now. In my opinion, Anthony Joshua is the best guy. I think he's better than Deontay Wilder. I think he's better than Fury. Fury is the heavyweight champion in the world. Make no doubt about it. The winner, Fury's the heavyweight champion. Klitschko's the former champion. Those guys will battle out to see who's the lineal title, whatever. They're about to fight for second place. Now, of the rest of the guys in there, of the rest of the top guys in there, which is Wilder, Joshua, and Ortiz. Ortiz is the boogeyman. And unfortunately, I'm going to say this now, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Ortiz is the guy that gets left out in the cold for some reason. I think they're going to use the we'll fight around you thing with Ortiz. And I want to see if the wretched WBA makes somebody fight Ortiz. Because Joshua, between Klitschko and the Klitschko Fury winner, they're going to probably try to drag that out into a trilogy. I would not be shocked if they drag that out into a trilogy. You won one, I won one, and we got a rubber match. I can see a case when it comes to Ortiz, he might get the WBA title because nobody really wants to fight him. Klitschko, the winner Klitschko Fury may just drop the WBA title and just keep that WBO title because nobody wants to fight Ortiz. Nobody's going to want to fight this guy. If I'm Joshua's people, I'm not fucking with him. If Wilder's people, I'm not fucking with him. Ortiz is like that one guy. It's not that he's all that much better than them. He's dangerous. It's high risk, low reward. He's the most dangerous guy in the heavyweight division. And nobody's going to want to fight him. Everybody talking about Deontay Wilder's the bronze bomber. Deontay Wilder's, but Deontay Wilder's not the guy that nobody wants to fight. People want to fight Deontay Wilder. Luis Ortiz is the guy nobody wants to fight. No heavyweight really wants to fight that guy. You don't fight him unless you fucking have to. And that's what I'm talking about when you talk about a guy that's feared and a guy that, that people don't want to fight. I get that Luis Ortiz has it. Laura has it. Golovkin doesn't have it. Golovkin is not the most feared guy in boxing, which HBO and them try to tell us that Golovkin's the most feared guy in boxing. He's not. Because people want to fight Triple G. What's happening is Tom Loeffler, they go and lowball everybody. And then people say, I'm not fighting for that chump change. And then they go out there and tell everybody Golovkin's so feared. Nobody wants to fight. It's not that nobody wants to fight him. People want to get paid. You want to talk about a guy who's feared and nobody wants to fight? Luis Ortiz. Golden Boy is offering people good money, heavyweights good money, and they're still saying no. No. And Golden Boy's not lowballing people. Golden Boy's not giving people chump. They're offering people good money to fight Luis Ortiz, and they're all saying thanks but no thanks. That's when you're feared, when you're offered more money than you've ever made before in your fucking career to fight a guy, and you say thanks but no thanks. That's a feared fighter. Luis Ortiz has that. Laura has that. When you get to that level where guys feel that you're just not worth fighting. I'm not fighting unless I have to. That's, folks, is when you're feared. A guy getting on that level at 147 could be Keith Thurman. Because I want to see how the big shakeup comes out with Keith Thurman. I don't know if he's on that level yet, but he could be that guy. At 154, I think it's Laura. At heavyweight, it's definitely Ortiz. This is the guy nobody wants to fucking fight. Light heavyweight, I don't think people are scared of either Kovalev or Ward or Stevenson. So there's no boogeyman at light heavyweight. Super middleweight, same things. Nobody's scared of nobody there. Middleweight, nobody's scared of Golovkin. Golovkin just lowballs everybody. 154, like I said, I still say it's Laura. 147, nobody. 140, nobody, because people fight Crawford. Ain't nobody crying about fighting Crawford, 135, there's really is a dead man's weight class. 130, you got Lomachenko. Lomachenko, people want to fight Lomachenko. 126, those guys all fight each other. There's really not a whole lot as I go. That's just going down to featherweight. I've been going to junior featherweight, blah, blah. Matter of fact, if I go to junior featherweight and include that in, you got Guillermo Rigondeaux, who's a boogeyman in the lower weight class, because don't nobody want to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux called out the winner of Frampton and Cruz this last weekend. Rigondeaux called them out, the winner there. You think they're going to fight Rigondeaux? No, Frampton already gave up 2 belts not to fight you. You think because you come to 126, Carl Frampton was going to fight you? Frampton already said you're a good fight and a good test, but you're not a money fight. And that's the thing about it. With Rigondeaux, you're not, and the same thing with Ortiz, same thing with Laura. You're too good for your own good. You don't bring enough fanfare in. You're high risk, low reward, and we're just not going to fight you. Because I'm not going to lose to you. If I'm going to lose to somebody that's going to bring me some money. And that's just the nature of the beast. So, in my opinion, the 3 boogeymen are Rigondeaux, Laura, and Ortiz. Now, if there's more, when you see this video, please put it in the message section down there. I'll check it out, see what your comments are, and we'll debate it. And that's what I love to do. I love to debate. So, we're hitting the 40-minute mark on this one, and I didn't think I wanted to go that long, but it is what it is. Once I start talking these damn things, I just keep going. So, that's my view. This is called The Truth, and I hope you liked it. Like I said, hit me up in the comments section. Till next time, this is Dope Wilkerson saying goodbye. Talk to you later.